tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. Political parties start to ramp up their campaigns as Canadians prepare to take to the polls.
And on May 2nd, let's paint Alberta blue, every single riding.
After recording more than a dozen homicides this year, some worry Edmonton could be on its way to becoming the murder capital of Canada.
I don't go out at night, and if I do, I'm with somebody in a vehicle.
NAIT's new president gives his take on the many programs the school offers.
And just listening to people in the hallways and hearing them talk about it, and when we go to programs, they're talking about other programs that have been done. So that's how we know it's really working.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. The election is only a week old, but it seems some people are already tuning out.
May 2nd is the day Canadians will be voting on the next government. But will younger voters be helping make the decision? Kyle Gallagher joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Party leaders were making their way through Edmonton this week to try to drum up support, but it seems like not all young Canadians are paying attention. 23-year-old Justin Yasup has a political science degree, ran for the Liberal Party in the 2008 provincial election, and believes it is important for younger people to be involved in politics.
Politics is around us all, especially as a student or as youth, because it's as a student you're paying high tuition costs, right? That's something that is legislated by governments. Whether
Yasup realizes younger people might not be interested in the upcoming election and says they aren't completely to blame.
It's not only our fault as youth for not being involved. The government, the current government, doesn't want us to be involved, because if we were, they might lose.
Yasup believes part of the reason younger voters aren't showing interest is that the policies and campaign promises are focusing on families and tax cuts, but issues like education and tuition haven't been getting much attention.
It is time for you to choose a Prime Minister who will help your family get ahead.
Low tax plan of critical importance to jobs, to growth, and to the financial security of Canadian families like yours.
The most effective part, I believe, is policy, because first you need the youth to be somewhat interested.
Voter turnout in general has been steadily declining. In the 1985 and 1988 elections, 75% of eligible Canadians voted. Fast forward to the last federal election in 2008, and only 59% cast a ballot. Sheena Willier is a 21-year-old student at Grant MacEwan and had no idea an election was even about to take place.
No advertisement, really. I don't see anything about it.
Willier thinks voting is important, but doesn't feel a person should cast a ballot just for the sake of voting.
I don't vote because I don't know anything about it, and I kind of don't want to vote for the wrong person.
Politicians are starting to put in the effort to reach out to younger voters through methods like social media, and Yasup thinks this is the way to go.
Is using the tools that the youth use, right? So Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. They need to put their message out in that sense.
Each party has their own website, and you can also search for them on Facebook and Twitter.
How can younger voters get involved with the election?
Well, some post-secondary institutions like the University of Alberta have student-led political groups, and also the party themselves are always looking for volunteers to help with the campaigning.
And Kyle, where can people go to find out how and where to vote?
Well, elections.ca is the official Elections Canada website, and they'll have pretty much everything you need to know about voting on Election Day.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. That's Kyle Gallagher reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
4 months into 2011, and Edmonton's homicide count has already reached 15.
And with the last two homicides occurring not even a week apart, many Edmontonians are scared about our streets. Andy Ferguson has more on this story from police headquarters.
Yeah, at this point last year, our homicide count was only at 5, but as of this March, it's now tripled, up to 15. On March 25th, in the community of Village Acres, on the 3rd floor, a 33-year-old man was killed in a domestic dispute. This was the 14th death in the latest string of homicides that have people worried.
In a lot of areas, yeah. My grandfather always told me not to walk outside at night, especially around in this area.
I don't go out at night, and if I do, I'm with somebody in a vehicle.
My community is actually getting a lot worse than it used to be. It's surprising because it's around an elementary school.
Despite the high number of homicides, almost all other crimes are down this year. And Lauren Asselstein feels generally safe about starting a family in the city.
I feel confident raising a child in this city. It's very strategic on where your house is and where you plan on sending them to school and other activities that they're involved in.
From 2005 to 2008, homicides ranged from numbers of 31 to 39, and as of this year, we are halfway on by matching those numbers with a total of 15 homicides so far.
Our analysts have been taking a look at all the cases, breaking them down, trying to see if there are any connecting variables, and at this point in time, there are no discernible patterns.
According to police, none of the homicides this year have any connection to drugs or gangs, but for Asselstein, it still doesn't mean to take things lightly.
I'd ensure either that my husband was with me or at least someone else. I wouldn't go out by myself, just for the fear of the unknown.
Police are suggesting that when you go out, be sure you know who you're with, be sure you know of your surroundings, and don't be afraid to back down from any confrontation whatsoever.
Thanks, Andy. That's Andy Ferguson reporting from police headquarters. Police are concerned about the sudden increases in pharmacy robberies in our city.
We had 3 pharmacy robberies in 2004, and we had 27
The number of
last
drug-related pharmacy robberies has risen steadily since 2009, with a disturbing 13 occurrences already this year. The drug fueling the crimes appears to be OxyContin, an opiate that sells for around $80 on the street.
But for the most part, Oxy is the drug of choice that they're targeting when they do the pharmacy robberies, because they're not robbing the pharmacies for money. That's what we're finding. They're robbing them for the drugs.
The EPS has been doing its part to educate the pharmaceutical community in hopes that if robberies do occur, staff will be better prepared to deal with the stress and trauma both during and after the crime.
Addictions can be a big part of mental health illnesses, and as part of the U of A's Mental Health Awareness Week, one man used his experiences to get the word out.
Found 68 ads in less than an hour for prescription drugs on TV.
From an early age, Mike Ryan's health was crippled by damaging drug addictions. Now, Ryan speaks to youth about the effects of drugs on a person's mental health, a lesson many never learn until it's too late.
It means you have to get that education out early, every year, in every school across the province.
Mental Health Awareness Week at the University of Alberta played host to many presentations from organizations all over Alberta that deal with mental health.
NAIT's new president is taking a hands-on approach to get familiar with his new posting.
He's visiting several programs at NAIT, and this week he spent some time in our radio and television program. Dr. Glenn Feltham joins us live from our news center with a special report on Project President.
It's been a great first month at NAIT. I'm absolutely having the time of my life getting to know all the academic staff and the students in the program. What an amazing way to learn about NAIT.
Project President has 3 purposes: to introduce the new president to NAIT, to introduce NAIT to the new president, and to let NAIT learn more about NAIT. To do so, I visited 13 programs with 18 more to come. Each has provided a hands-on understanding. Together, I've learned about the depth and breadth of programs at NAIT.
We were really excited about the opportunity to do this and knew that other people would get really excited about this. It's something really innovative and different and hands-on and in there, which is very much what NAIT is. So we knew that we'd get this kind of good response to it.
Have you heard at all about Project President?
No.
Okay. You know that NAIT has a new president?
Yeah.
You know who he is?
You.
But we're monitoring the comments, we're tracking how many people are looking at the stories, how often they're coming back to them, and just listening to people in the hallways and hearing them talk about it. And when we go to programs, they're talking about other programs that have been done. So that's how we know it's really working.
And you can see and read about Project President in just a week's time. It's going to be on our website at nait.ca.
Dr. Feltham, you visited radio and television this week. What's next on your schedule?
Well, let me tell you just about a few. On Monday, I'm going to be at Crane and Hoist, then going to be doing natural gas processing. Just some wonderful experiences yet to come.
Thanks, Dr. Feltham. That's Dr. Glenn Feltham, NAIT's newest president.
The city streets may begin to look a little tidier as Capital City Cleanup launches their 2011 campaign. Volunteers were on hand this week filling bags with supplies for those helping with the cleanup. This year's campaign has expanded to include graffiti management as well as safe needle disposal and the Snow Angels snow removal program. Don Belanger, program manager for Capital City Cleanup, talks about the goals for the 2011 campaign.
We want to maintain our 29% reduction in litter as it compares to 2009 or better. And we want to make sure that we're engaging more of the community, both business, nonprofit, and individuals in helping keep our city clean.
Capital City Cleanup is celebrating 5 successful years keeping our city clean.
There was something for everyone Wednesday when young and old came out to the 2nd annual Taste of Bourbon. The crowd came pouring in as music from Bourbon Street filled West Edmonton Mall. The smell of Thai chicken and buffalo shrimp brought people by the dozens to check out the 14 food stands set up from one end of Bourbon Street to the other.
Hey, get up!
The atmosphere was buzzing, and while the kids enjoyed balloon animals and airbrush tattoos, the adults got an up-close demonstration from award-winning chef Shane Chartrand.
Coming up after the break, some say Earth Hour was a bust in Edmonton.
We take a look at power consumption for Earth Hour.
People are at home, they've got the heat on, they've got their doors closed, and they're using a lot of energy to stay warm.
Also, could your computer and cell phone be damaging your
Coming
wrist?
up in sports, I tried judo.
It was a disappointing night for Edmonton as Earth Hour came and went.
Numbers received in comparison to the week before showed that energy consumption actually went up by 1%. Citizens were asked to turn off their lights and appliances last weekend for 1 hour in an effort to help the planet and spread awareness about overusing energy. Unfortunately, the results were dim.
We were still really hoping for a drop in power rather than a raise in power. So a couple of the contributing factors. It was a rather cold, windy day, which means people are at home, they've got the heat on, they've got their doors closed, and they're using a lot of energy to stay warm.
Emily, it has been so nice these last couple days. I'm really hoping it's going to stick around.
Well, let's go to Daryl Ann with weather and see if she can give us an update. Daryl Ann?
Hey ladies, it is absolutely gorgeous out here. The sun is shining, have a little bit of a breeze, but nothing to complain about. Let's take a look at the weather for Monday. Calgary, we've got a low of -7 and a high of +10, 90% chance of snow there, so make sure you dress warm. Looking at Jasper, we've got a 70% chance of scattered flurries with a low of -1 and a high of +4. Fort McMurray, we've got a 30% chance of the snow rain showers, the yucky stuff, with a low of -2 and a high of +8. And the City of Champions, we've got about a 20% chance of that snow rain showers with a low of -4 and a high of +6. Taking a look at the records, the record low was set back in 1920 and it was -26. The record high was +21 in 1889.
Weather for NewsWatch is sponsored by NR92, the station for the students.
With all this gorgeous weather, ladies, what are you guys planning on doing this weekend?
Well, I would love to get my bike out, but I don't think it's good enough out there for that just yet.
You might want to give it a week or two. Thanks so much, Daryl Ann.
Thanks,
that is
guys.
Daryl Ann Hutchings with weather.
It's common knowledge that modern-day student tends to spend their days on either the computer or on their cell phones.
What's not common knowledge is that these technologies may be putting these same students at risk for carpal tunnel syndrome. Lyndon Savanto has more on that story.
Carpal tunnel syndrome is a common condition that affects the hand and wrist. When the median nerve, the major nerve in the hand, is compressed, the result is pain, clumsiness of the hand, and numbness or tingling in the thumb, index, middle, and ring finger.
As it progresses, you will lose function in your hand. People report feeling clumsy or like they don't have as much dexterity.
Symptoms to watch out for include an increase or decrease in swelling, red or irritated skin areas, also pain, sensations of burning, and the feeling of pins and needles.
Carpal tunnel syndrome can occur in any repetitive workplace, but as simple as it is for it to occur, there are simple methods to preventing and reducing the symptoms.
There are several ways to minimize the symptoms of carpal tunnel syndrome. They include maintaining proper wrist position by trying to keep the wrist straight, minimizing repetition, decreasing the speed of forceful, repetitive movements, giving your hands a periodic break, and the usage of a splint.
And then they just say, oh, I shook my hand and it seemed to come back. But what you really want to do is wear a splint that will keep your wrist straight at night and allow that nerve a chance to become decompressed.
If carpal tunnel symptoms continue or worsen, be sure to visit an occupational therapist. Lyndon Savanto, NAIT NewsWatch.
Kevin Snattersy now here for sports.
Kev, I heard you had a busy week.
Yeah, Paul Henderson was in town, and also the Spruce Grove Saints are in the NRFlex Cup Championship. Most of this generation saw Sidney Crosby's now famous golden goal, but another goal has been etched in Canadian history for nearly 40 years. Paul Henderson's 1972 Summit Series winning goal. He's touring Canada with the jersey, and this week he made a stop in Edmonton.
A few months ago, we had a pretty good run. We made it to the semifinals and then got the boot.
Had a special honor in store for the legend.
Well, it's been fabulous. At 68, it's good to be anywhere, and especially here in Edmonton today, being Dean Paul Henderson Day. That's the first time that's ever happened to me, so it's getting better every year. I can hardly wait till next year. Picture with them.
Edmontonians were thrilled to be able to see the jersey and meet the Canadian hero.
Terrific. Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh, it's fantastic. It brings back so many good memories. When I first saw him, my heart was already fluttering, just thinking the old excitement that was, you know.
The 2011 Mini World Cup has kicked off. The event, featuring players from across Edmonton, has 76 teams representing 39 countries. The opening ceremonies were held on Wednesday. Every country competing entered the arena waving the country flag, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe.
Very excited. It's just they wait and wait for a time like this, and when they're here, they're just ready and willing to play.
The tournament runs for 2 weeks and will have about 50,000 people attending. Perfection is a tough thing to achieve in sports. In the NFL, only the 1972 Miami Dolphins have had a perfect season. The Spruce Grove Saints are entering the final of the NRFlex Cup Championship against the Camrose Kodiaks with a perfect 8-0 playoff record. The Saints have been awaiting the winner of the South Division for a week.
We've had breaks throughout the playoffs here, and I think we just took the mentality that we knew when the series was going to start, and we just got to be prepared for that day.
Despite all their success, the players aren't taking their opponents lightly.
I think it's going to be a hard series. They're working hard, they have good players, good skills, good goalie too, and I think they are a team that, every night they work so hard.
The series gets underway this weekend at the Grant Fear Arena in Spruce Grove. On Monday, the Oil Kings took the ice in Game 3 of the first-round series with the Red Deer Rebels. No scoring in the first 2 periods of this one, so we'll skip ahead to the third. Christian Pels rushing up the ice, bangs it off the bar, and TJ Foster gets the rebound, puts it in, and puts the Oil Kings up 1-0. Midway through the third now, the Rebels on a power play. They work around to Byron Froese, who blasted past Brassault to tie the game. Now with 2 minutes left in the third, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins rushing up the ice. Dalton Seawack gets the rebound, up and over Brassault, fluky goal. Rebels up 2-1. They would add another one as insurance, and they would take this one 3-1. The Rebels picked up another win in Game 4 on Thursday to sweep the series. For this week's End Zone Challenge, I learned judo, a non-striking sport, otherwise known as the gentle way. But it wasn't very gentle to me. I'm down here at the Fort Saskatchewan Judo Club. I got Teresa here, gonna teach me some judo. I got my judoki on. That's how you say it, right? Judoki?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Gi for short.
Oh, gi. I got my gi on. First, I had to learn break falls, the judo way of preventing injury.
And you just
let yourself roll back. So you just roll back, and when your bum hits the floor, you touch the mat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I learned some judo throws. 2 provincial athletes, Cassidy and Caitlin, demonstrated it.
Your split sweeps.
I was terrified to say the least, and I should have been.
Move around and get a throw. Whoa! Fall backwards the same as
After that embarrassment, someone finally let me throw them around. He said he felt sorry for me.
And so up and sweep. Yeah.
Lastly, I got to learn submissions. That's this week's End Zone Challenge.
Well, for a non-striking sport, Kevin, it looks like you got a little bit roughed up there.
Oh, it is a harsh sport. Like, don't take it lightly.
Thanks, Kev. That's Kevin Snattersy with sports. Coming up after the break, daffodils for a good cause.
We help out with a campaign raising money for cancer research.
Just spreading the symbol of hope, which is very important to us at the Canadian Cancer Society.
Coming up in entertainment, we're at the Edmonton Northlands Farm and Ranch Show. Stay tuned.
Hair for NewsWatch personalities, sponsored by Carriel Salon and Spa.
Millions of people worldwide are affected by cancer every year.
So this week we donated our time to a cause working to help end this devastating disease.
Or you can make a donation and just take a pin, which is like this.
We joined volunteers from the Canadian Cancer Society at NAIT for Daffodil Days. Daffodils, the Canadian Cancer Society's symbol of hope, were being sold in support of a cure.
The Daffodil Drive is happening around Edmonton and surrounding areas. It actually happens across the country with teams of volunteers who are selling daffodils and just spreading the symbol of hope, which is very important to us at the Canadian Cancer Society. We've been selling daffodils since 1950s, so it's really important to a lot of people.
Maybe you'd be interested in buying daffodil pins are also being sold for a small cash donation throughout Edmonton. Daffodil Day is on April 27th, so be sure to get your pins.
Caitlin Dowbegan now joins us for entertainment.
If you're in the mood to horse around, the city has what you need with the Edmonton Farm and Ranch Show. The event opened at Northlands on the 31st and offers more than expected.
Families, they can come and see all the exhibits through the day and go to the rodeo at night. We have the Canadian National College Finals Rodeo every night, and just great family entertainment.
The halls were filled with everything from art, clothes, jewelry, gardening supplies, and collectibles. You may also run into competitors checking out what the show has to offer for the Canadian College Finals Rodeo. You can take advantage of the farm show until April 2nd. Head to farmandranchshow.com for schedule and event times. Many women would agree that there is one shoe meaner than a cowboy's spur, the heels on the catwalk. Edmonton's fashionistas were out in full force as Western Canada Fashion Week wrapped up at the TransAlta Art Barn. The event, which is the longest running fashion week in Alberta, was well received by designers across Canada.
Really easygoing, like just working and talking and communicating with everyone. It's really, they have a very supportive team and a very dedicated team.
If you missed the shows but need the clothes, local designer Tressa Hackford's shop, Nice Clothing, might have what you're looking for.
We carry 100% Canadian designed and manufactured clothing. We have a lot of locals that are shown at Western Canada Fashion Week, and this is the place to get them.
Check out meesclothing.com for its 2 Edmonton area locations. Auditions for CBC's reality show Dragon's Den made their way to Edmonton on Wednesday. The judges were shown proposals for everything from sword soloing to adult-themed pop-up
It's really amazing every year, and you think you've seen it all, and every year we get surprises.
Hopefuls range from those trying to share an idea to established business owners, like the ladies of Fabulous Fur Balls.
What we're looking for is really a dragon who has that experience in being able to grow companies tremendously fast and tremendously big, and that's what we're looking for, is to spread the fabulous worldwide.
Other ideas included portable lunchbox coolers, an opera, and the interesting idea of RV-sized luxury skidoos. You can expect to see some of Edmonton's own on the next season of Dragon's Den, which airs in the fall. Making up your own superhero is something a lot of people think about doing, admittedly, me included. In James Gunn's new creation, Super, Rainn Wilson shows us how it's done, or at least how it's done by him.
When Frank loses his wife to a daring drug dealer,
have you seen my wife? I don't think she wants to see you anymore.
He has a little trouble coping. He arrives at the conclusion that the only way to fight the injustice is to do just that. Literally, and in a large-scale way.
Batarang, pipe bombs, utility belt. Green Arrow has a bow and arrow.
Okay.
Why do you need all those?
I'm making up my own superhero.
All it takes to be a superhero is the choice to fight evil.
And so the Crimson Bolt is born.
Shut up, crime.
A hero that holds himself to the most basic of crime-fighting principles.
Don't steal. Don't deal drugs. Don't molest kids.
But with great power comes great responsibility. In this case, training the sidekick.
Ta-da! How do I look?
You're not supposed to kill him!
I'm just learning! You have to teach me these things! You just sit here and wait for crime to happen?
That's right.
This is so boring!
The diligent duo beat a path through the evil in their own metropolis.
This is not about good and evil. This is about she loved me more because I am interesting.
And with the impressive cast of Rainn Wilson, Ellen Page, Liv Tyler, Kevin Bacon, and Edmonton native Nathan Fillion, this one is sure to pound out some laughs.
Super hits theaters on April 1st, and for any fans of Castle or The Office, it's definitely one you're not going to want to miss. That's your entertainment. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks, Caitlin. You know, it's great that Edmonton Fashion Week showcases all of that local talent.
Yeah, some of those collections were extremely creative. That's our show. Don't forget to get your pin in time for Daffodil Day.
And visit us online at newswatch.ca.